Good morning and welcome once again to the Zest4 webinar. This will be the second in our series of webinars that are designed to help partners and potential partners understand who Zest4 are, what Zest4 are doing in IoT, what the IoT opportunity is for partners, and how Zest4 can help partners and potential partners succeed. I'll be covering a number of topics that will help partners make the journey through IoT minefield through these series of webinars. The topic I want to cover today is the connected camera, specifically looking at the Zest4 incident cam. I thought this would be a good place to start to form from a product point of view, as it's an easy sell, customers can understand it, and you should be able to see the instant benefits. And every business has got one or more vehicles within the fleet. So, connected camera, what is it and who's buying it? This is one of the things that we're going to cover off today. We're also going to look at what's new in this space and what is the opportunity. I'm going to give you a live demo of the connected camera and the benefits a fleet can get from using the platform. We've got a case study for you to go through so you can understand how partners and customers can benefit from the Zest4 incident cam. It will give you the opportunity to look at what's your ROI and what next that we do from here. So to start moving on, for anyone that's been in the industry for some time, you'll know that vehicle telematics has been around forever. How can this not be a saturated market? I get asked quite regularly. Well, as with your mobile handset, there are always new solutions, new enhancements and new pieces of technology that make the solution better. So existing users will upgrade. It's the same with telematics. New users will take on a new solution. And if we take a look at the growth of IoT in specific sectors, you can see that throughout the years, vehicle telematics is still one of the largest growth areas, only being bettered by energy and utilities, which is predominantly the smart metering initiatives that are taking place. But what we're going to look at today is not the standard usual telematics device. As standard, a telematics device will give you information on basically where your fleet is. It will tell you where your vehicles have been and the route that they took, etc. But as a fleet manager or a business owner, you have a duty of care for your employees, you have a requirement for brand protection, and you probably want to make some cost savings when running your fleet. So a telematics device needs to do all of the above and probably a little bit more. So to do this, you need to be able to monitor initially your driver behaviour. You need to be able to see exactly what's going on in your vehicles, and if there's an incident, you need to have evidence of what's happened and who was at fault, and you read that instantly. Some businesses have resorted to installing basic dash cams in the vehicles, and while this is great for a consumer because it will record an incident so you can have a look at what's happened and show someone what's happened, but if you're a fleet manager that's got a fleet of vehicles on the road, what you don't want to have to do is sit down and review 8 hours of footage for every vehicle you've got just so you can see what your drivers are doing. In fact, it'd be impossible. So this is where a connected camera comes in. Now the Zest4 incident cam is a smart, revolutionary, connected device that sits in the vehicle that enhances driver safety and reduces fleet operating costs. The device will record the route taken, the mileage travelled, start and stop times of a vehicle, the direction of travel, and driver behaviour statistics. Now these include things like harsh acceleration, harsh braking, harsh turning, shock detection. And in the event of an impact on a vehicle, a collision, harsh braking, harsh cornering, or the driver even pressing the panic button, video footage is automatically streamed live from the vehicle to the Zest4 customer portal where a fleet manager or business owner can view it. The system will automatically generate an email to the customer containing a quick video together with an incident report and alerts. Video evidence is recorded and stored on board the device. So when an incident occurs, within seconds, the video footage of this incident is sent to you. So you're in complete control. These all contribute to helping you identify road risks within your driver fleet, fleet safety. It's simple yet powerful telematics. Our online portal helps deliver driver safety and protection. It gives you information instantly, within seconds in fact, of an incident taking place, which I'll show you shortly. Now, when we say an incident, that may be an unsafe speeding event. It could be someone that's driving erratically, or it could be a road collision, or even someone pressing a panic button, but at least someone knows that you're looking out for them. GPS vehicle position data from the Zest4 incident cam is sent to the portal every minute, so you can accurately track vehicles and replay the route via a simple to use dashboard. Real-time evidence of an incident in video form is delivered to you, so you can see exactly what's happened. Footage will be delivered instantly, and it will give you a 10-second snapshot of what happened prior to the incident and a 10-second snapshot of what's happened during or after the incident. This will give you real-time information and complex evidence to help support a claim or manage your fleet. So why don't I show you this in action? When you log into the dashboard, this is what you'll see. So when you first log in, you're faced with what looks like a standard telematics type dashboard. Down the left hand side, you'll see the vehicles within your group. And at first glance, you'll see basic vehicle information that identifies which vehicle it is, and this is configurable, so you can name them as you see fit. You can also choose your own logos. You will see if a vehicle is parked or on the move. If a vehicle's parked, it will have a large P beneath it, and if the vehicle's on the move, you'll see the rolling road, and you'll see the speed that the vehicle is travelling at that particular time. Select the vehicles that you want to see, and they'll start to appear on the map. I can then zoom in and out to see more specific information about where a vehicle is. If I want to look at a specific vehicle, I can select the vehicle and hit the Journey tab. And I can do this for individual vehicles, or I can do it as part of a group. I can then see the journeys that this vehicle has made. And if I click on the action, I'll see more specific information about each individual journey. If it's not today that I'm looking at, I can click on Journey again. I can then select a date range, and I can see all the journeys that this vehicle did last month as an example. Again, when I click on action, I can see all the information, giving the start time, the location, the end time, the end location, the duration that it was driving, the maximum speed, the distance covered, and also the idling time. If I then take a look at the graph above the vehicle information, I can see the speed limit of the road that the vehicle was on, and I can see the speed that that vehicle was travelling for the duration of that journey. And on the left, I've got a snail trail which shows me the route was taken. All useful pieces of information when managing fleet, but most telematics solutions will do this. So let's have a look at what else we can do here with the Zest4 incident cam. I'm not going to go through everything on here, otherwise I'll be here all day, but I'll take a look at the top things that we can do. If we look at the toolbar across the top, we've already seen the map view, which shows us the view of all our different vehicles. Proximity is one where we can actually put in our location, and it will tell us which vehicles are close to our proximity. This is ideal for if you want to do rerouting of a vehicle. The one I want to show you now though is reports. On here is probably the most comprehensive list of reports that we'll see in a telematics solution. Now this is just a snapshot of what's available, and this page is fully configurable, so you don't have to have all the reports showing. You can just show the reports that are relevant to the business. And I'll scroll down so you can see the reports available, and I'll show you a few of them in detail later. I'll highlight a few as we're going down, so you can see diagnostic history. you can see fuel reporting, you can see idling reporting. If we go down, we can see driver scores that will tell us how a driver is reporting. We can see fleet scores. We can see GPS information, every journey that was taken and the time. There's an idling report, so you can see how much fuel is wasted by idling. There's lone worker reports. There's overspeed reports, which are critical for making sure you're managing driver behaviour. And many, many more. But back to the top again. So if you just want a quick snapshot of what a driver has been doing on that particular day, we can get this. We can quickly look at it. Just simply select your drivers, hit the Today button, and this will give you all the information you need. So we can see exactly what this vehicle has been doing at any point during the day. We've got average speed, maximum speeds, and if we click on the information at the side, it will tell us what each journey was, where it was to, where it's gone, and the route that it took. But what we're looking at today is not a standard telematics solution, it's the Zest4 incident cam. So let me show you how great this is. Now, a standard installation is a forward-facing camera. However, we can do a forward-facing camera with an internal one, so you can get a view of what the driver's doing. We can add a rear camera as well, so you can see what's happening behind the vehicle. Now, as I said before, you can go down to Halfords and get a dash cam, put it into a vehicle, record it onto an SD card, but over an 8-hour shift you'd have to physically sit down and watch it all to see what the driver was doing. The Zest4 incident cam is live whenever the ignition is on. It's recording all the time and sending information to the portal. But rather than having to watch it back, as I said earlier, it monitors the driver behaviour and reports back to you when the driver is not driving in the manner that you would expect. So this could be, and again I'll say it, speeding, harsh cornering, harsh braking, or harsh accelerating. The camera takes a snapshot of video 10 seconds before the incident, and it will run from 10 seconds after the incident. Send this video directly to the fleet manager. The video that you get is all recorded in HD, so it's admissible in court if required. So let me show you a few videos from our demo fleet. So let me choose a driver that I know has a cam in, and we'll look at the incident cam reporting. If I click on incident cam and select a date, I'll look at last month's data. I can see that there's been no crashes reported and no incidents. However, there's been a few panic button presses. Now, the reason our drivers press the panic button is so we've got something to actually show you. On the map, you'll see exactly where he was each time you press the panic button, or if these were crashes and incidents, you'd see exactly where he was each time there was an incident. So let me take a look at one of the videos so we can show you the quality of a recording. We'll click this one at the bottom, and I can see now this is a dual facing camera. I can see that the driver is happily driving along, whether he's talking to himself or singing, I'm not sure, but he pressed his panic button. So let's run this again and see what happened here and the information that we got. I can see as he's approaching the corner here, a car comes round and cuts him up. So he has to brake harder than normal, hence why he's passed his panic button. If that had been an incident and that car had hit him, we would have the evidence there that that car cut the corner, and it's recorded in HD. And I'm sure you'll appreciate the quality of these videos. If I look at it one more time, but this time blow it up, we can see the information at the bottom of the screen, which tells us the speed he was travelling, the fact that he braked harsh, and exactly where he was. So again, as if this is information that you needed to use as an incident, you'd have all the information to hand. Let's take a look now at a single camera car. Now, I know this car here, as part of our fleet, has got a single camera solution in there. So again, I'll select the date and I'll look at last month. I can see as I look at last month, this driver here, he's had no panic button presses, but he's had 5 harsh decelerations. This tells me that the driver does appear to be a bit heavy-footed on the brakes. So let's pick one of his videos and we'll have a look and see how this driver performs. Have a look at this one. So this video hasn't been requested by a panic button. This has been sent due to information, and we can probably see why now. I'll run it again on big screen so we can see exactly what happened. If we look at the bottom of the screen, I can see the driver's driving at 74 miles an hour. He's starting to accelerate and he's hitting speeds of 82 miles an hour. He realises he needs to pull off then and brakes from 82 down to 40 miles an hour to stop himself hitting the van in front of him. This has triggered an incident. This incident then is captured, sent to the fleet manager, and the fleet manager knows exactly what's happened then. Should this driver have been involved in an accident, i.e. hit the van in front of him, or someone else, because of his harsh braking, hit him from behind, you'd have this information to hand. Now for me, because if I look at this driver, he's had 5 deceleration incidents in the last month, it tells me that potentially is an accident waiting to happen. So this is something that if he was one of my drivers, I'd want to be pulling him and having a conversation to see how we can change this behaviour. But what happens if you actually have an accident? Well, I don't have any accidents in our fleet to show you, but I do have one we can take a look at. This is where the Zest4 incident cam really gets good, because not only will it tell you one of your vehicles has been in an accident, but it will also show you exactly what happened and give you an automated report of the whole incident. This can be really useful for insurance purposes, particularly if your driver isn't at fault. So let me show you this one. This is an incident report that's happened and sent through from a real life crash. So if we take a look at the incident report, I can see the registration of the vehicle that's been involved in the incident. I can see that the car was travelling on the A1 in Darlington area. I can see the exact postcode location. I can see the speed at the time of the incident was 59 miles an hour in a 70 mile an hour limit. And obviously the date and time of the incident. If I look across here though, I can also see the G-forces that were that happened as part of the incident. And notice on this one, there's an up G-force. If I look at the vehicle, I can see where the impact zone was on the vehicle. And on this one, the impact was on the roof. And on the left, we've got a graph of the speed. So the red line being the speed limit, we can see the vehicle was above the speed limit and accelerating. Then all of a sudden, some very harsh deceleration. If I scroll down, I see a satellite image and I can see, again, the incident started on the A1. Where it's red is where it stopped. We started having problems, and we can see the incident finished in the field. And we also have a snapshot of what the road looked like before the incident happened. And we can see the road is clear. So what the hell happened here? Well, let's take a look at the video and you'll see exactly what happened. If I open this video up and let it play, the car's travelling on the inside lane, accelerating past 80 miles an hour and undertaking a car. I can see the vehicle's now pulling into the right hand lane. It spins in the field and it's over on its roof. This tells me that the car was undertaking. As it's moved into the right hand lane, it looks like it's clipped the vehicle that it's just undertaken. By clicking the vehicle, it sent it into a spin, crashed through the barriers and ended up in the field, and it hit its roof at 59 miles an hour. Now this video clip would accompany the incident, and again it would be instantly available to the fleet manager, and also if he wasn't at fault, which he was, it would be admissible in court. So let's go back to the dashboard. As the incident cam is going to show you exactly what's happened at the time of an accident, there's a real benefit here for the insurance company. You tend to find when 2 or more insurance companies are involved, the insurance company that gets first notification of loss is the company that owns and controls the claim. This means they get to control the speed and the cost of resolution. If their party is to blame, they can close it down quickly. If the party is not to blame, they can make sure they get the best service and resolution. There's also no doubt that in most incidents for vans and business vehicles, due to the lack of evidence, the insurance company may have to admit partial liability to get the claim sorted and the vehicle back on the road quickly. This cuts all that out. They have concrete evidence of what happened and can act accordingly. As such, most fleets can generally negotiate a discount by having this type of technology in a vehicle. So back to reporting. Not only can it help with crashes and driver behaviour, but we want to make it easier to manage a fleet and get some cost savings. And the easiest way to do this is by using the V5 dashboard. Now on the V5 dashboard, all the reports that we saw earlier can be found on this page. But you can simply select the widgets that are relevant to your business and personalise this page. So let's take a look at a couple. Every widget has a full report behind it. So if I look at the first one that's important to us, it's speeding. I'm just looking at a demo fleet of 4 vehicles. And I can see for last month the number of speeding offences that have happened. I can see how many times a vehicle went over the 20 mile an hour limit, 30, 40, 50, 60, etc. And if I look at the button at the end, I can see exactly where it happened, the speed that they were doing, and the journey that they took. I can also change the date range, so I can look at all the historical information that I need, and I can download all this information as a PDF or Excel, so I can go back and manage a specific driver if required. If I go back to the dashboard, so let's take a look at this V5 dashboard. All of the reports that we saw earlier can be found on this page. You can select the widgets that are relevant to your business and personalise this page. I'm just going to take you through a couple of these. Now, every widget that you see has a full report behind it and is ready to go. So if I start with something like speeding, if I open the report, I can see how many speeding events each vehicle has had this year. I can change the date range, but for now I'm just going to look at last month. I can download all this information as a PDF or in an Excel format. I can see all my vehicles at the bottom here, and I can see the total journeys each vehicle's done, how many times they've broken the 30 mile an hour limit, 40 mile an hour limit, etc, etc. And if I click on the button at the end, the action button, I can see the exact information about that journey. This makes it really easy for me to manage my drivers, and in particular the drivers that are speeding. If I go back to the dashboard, I can see a tab here that says journey. Now this tells me the amount of miles that my fleet's travelled, how many journeys they've done, but it also tells me that 6% of their time last month has been spent idling. Now idling costs me money as a business, and I can see the fuel costs. Each vehicle is costing me about £10 a month for idling. Now that's money that really I don't want to be spending as a business owner. I can see how many litres I've been using, and this updates itself based on the average current fuel pricing across the UK. I can also look at risk performance and driver behaviour. So on here, each one of my drivers is going to be scored out of 100, and they'll be scored against things like acceleration, deceleration, overall speed. So I can see that this driver here has only got 17 out of 100 on acceleration, 45 out of 100 for deceleration, and he's got 0 for speed, which means his overall score is only 23. He's listed in red, so he would be a high-risk person, high-risk individual for me and my fleet. I've then got a few in orange, and I've got some good drivers. But again, this gives me all the information that I need to actually manage my fleet. And again, flick back to the dashboard. When I'm back in the dashboard, I can also drill down into even more information about a driver. I can then start to score them on things like, as well as acceleration and deceleration, but do a lot of nighttime driving? Are they driving in urban areas? Again, I can add this in and get all the relevant information I need about a driver. I can see that this driver doesn't do a lot of nighttime driving, so again, his risk is probably less to me. From an acceleration and deceleration point of view, he seems to be a bit heavy-footed, and he does a lot of urban driving. And again, in urban driving, he's probably more likely to have an incident if he's accelerating quickly or having to decelerate harshly. All information that again will be really useful when managing a fleet. And as I stated earlier, the dashboard is fully configurable, so you can set this up to get the best out of your drivers and your fleet. So that was really just a very, very quick snapshot of the Zest4 incident cam. I could go into a lot more detail, but for the sake of time, I just wanted to share with you some of the key areas. So who would benefit from this? So let me share a case study with you. Here's a top line view of a customer that I can share. Now this case study is based on a fuel saving point of view. So working with a UK leading household name, DIY trade brand, our partner was asked to support the fleet management of 170 small commercial vans and up to 700 company cars. 170 of these delivery vehicles supply products across the UK, and the challenge was to examine whether the telematics could improve efficiency and reduce running costs in their delivery fleet. 16 vehicles were chosen to take part in the trial, and each of the 16 trial vehicles were fitted with a telematics device of one description or another. The following monitoring reports were set up. We looked at driver behaviour, and the reports were set up based on several risk metrics: speeding, harsh acceleration, harsh braking, urban driving and nighttime driving. As I said earlier, we scored each of these metrics out of 100 and weighted it in accordance with their perceived influence on overall risk. We looked at speeding events, and automated speeding reports were scheduled and highlighted every time the speed limit was in excess of 10% of the actual road limit. We also put location-based alerts. These are our places of interest and geofences. They were added to the system for all branch locations for the purpose of alerting when a vehicle was entering a branch. It was also listed to alert if a vehicle was entering a branch that wasn't their home branch. Furthermore, the amount of time spent at foreign branches by vehicles was also reported on. And fleet management were regularly fed information back into the drivers. And this driver report generated an interesting pattern. I know the graph is not that clear on here, but what you can see, the initial rollout of telematics brought about an immediate change. Each of the vertical red lines on the graph represents the official feedback to drivers, and it's clear when you look at this that you can see after each feedback session a reduction in all the events that were being monitored was demonstrated. Bad habits were then picked up slightly, and at the point of monitoring they went back down again. This would suggest that if you were monitoring a fleet constantly, you should really be able to minimise poor performance in drivers. So let's have a look at the results. Fuel expenditure. The first month of the telematics data showed the average MPG across the fleet of vans was 31.46. By the end of the third month, this had improved by 14.7% to 36.8 miles per gallon. Based on an average monthly mileage of 2,090 miles and the fuel price of £1.11 per litre, which was the relevant price at the time of the trial, there was a £42.89 saving per vehicle per month. That's £77,000 across the entire fleet that year. There was a mileage reduction. Prior to installation of telematics, the average mileage by a trial vehicle was 2,228 miles. Following the telematics trial, this reduced to 2,090 for the month, a reduction of 138 miles per vehicle. Again, if we look at the average miles of 138 a month, the average cost per mile of 14 pence, this gave us an annual saving over the fleet of £34,000. The conclusion in this, the increase in fuel efficiency, the reduction in speeding offences and the improvement in driver behaviour saw our partner successfully roll out to the fleet in 2017 telematics devices. The return on fuel savings alone was at a fraction of the cost of implementing the solution. And what did this mean to the partner? Well, it secured revenue of over 600k when the full fleet would be rolled out. It secures a key customer and it's a value add sale opportunity. This is just one of a suite of solutions that we're helping our partners push into channel. There are lots of add-on products that can help for things like tyre pressure monitoring, temperature monitoring, driver feedback, etc. We're happy to support you with online demos, customer visits, and all you need to sell these solutions into your customers. We have a number of partners now that have this in their own vehicles for both peace of mind, but also to help them demo the solution. So if you've seen something here today that you feel will benefit you, your sales team, and help you target more customers, then please give me a shout. I'm going to close the webinar soon and open for questions, but before I do, I just want to share with you what our next session in 2 weeks' time will be about. On Thursday the 9th of August at 9:30 we'll be looking at cut the wire connectivity. Using IoT connectivity to either replace the fixed line or as a failover solution or a temporary solution while you're waiting for fixed line services going in. We'll be looking at things like what is pre-Ethernet or cut the wire connectivity, what are typical solutions for utilisation, what we can offer to channel. There'll be a case study there and we'll discover what the partner opportunity is. So please do what you can to register for the next webinar and join us. So I'm now going to open the mic shortly and ask you if you have any questions.